A transfer case is a part of the drivetrain of four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, and other multiple-powered axle vehicles. The transfer case transfers power from the transmission to the front and rear axles by means of drive shafts. It also synchronizes the difference between the rotation of the front and rear wheels, and may contain one or more sets of low-range gears for off-road use. Functions: the transfer case receives power from the transmission and sends it to both the front and rear axles. This can be done with gears, hydraulics, or chain drive. On some vehicles, such as four-wheel drive trucks or vehicles intended for off-road use, this feature is controlled by the driver. The driver can put the transfer case into either two-wheel drive, or four-wheel drive mode. This is sometimes accomplished by means of a shifter, similar to that in a manual transmission. On some vehicles this may be electronically operated by a switch instead. Some vehicles, such as all-wheel drive sports cars, have transfer cases that are not selectable. Such a transfer case is permanently locked into all-wheel drive mode. Transfer cases that are designed to allow for normal road use synchronize the difference between the rotation of the front and rear wheels, in much the same way the differential acts on a given axle. This is necessary because the front and rear tires never turn at the same speed. Different rates of tire rotation are generally due to different tire diameters and different gear ratios in the front and rear differential, since manufacturers will often have a slightly lower ratio in the front versus the rear to help with control. If the transfer case did not make up the difference between the two different rates of rotation, binding would occur and the transfer case could become damaged. This is also why a transfer case that is not designed for on-road use must never be driven on dry pavement. Transfer cases designed for off-road use can mechanically lock the front and rear axles when needed. This is the equivalent to the differential lock. The transfer case may contain one or more sets of low-range gears for off-road use. Low-range gears are engaged with a shifter or electronic switch. On many transfer cases, this shifter is the same as the one that selects 2WD or 4WD operation. Low-range gears allow the vehicle to drive at much slower speeds while still operating within the usable power bands/RPM range of the engine. This also increases the torque available at the axles. Low-range gears are used during slow-speed or extreme off-road maneuvers, such as rock crawling, navigating dangerous roads, or when pulling a heavy load. This feature is often absent on all-wheel drive cars. Some very large vehicles, such as heavy equipment or military trucks, have more than one low-range gear. Types: transfer cases used on part-time four-wheel drive off-road vehicles such as trucks, truggies, rock-crawling vehicles, and some military vehicles generally allow the driver to select 2WD or 4WD, as well as high or low gear ranges. Those used in sports cars and performance sedans are usually transparent to the driver. There is no shifter or select lever. Drive type equals. Gear-driven: there are two different types of internal power transfer mechanism found in most transfer cases. Gear-driven transfer cases use sets of gears to drive either the front or both the front and rear drive shafts. These are generally strong, heavy units that are used in large trucks, but there are currently several gear drive cases in production for passenger cars. Chain-driven transfer cases use a chain to drive most often only one axle, but can drive both axles. Chain-driven transfer cases are quieter and lighter than gear-driven ones. They are used in vehicles such as compact trucks, full-size trucks, Jeeps and SUVs. Some off-road driving enthusiasts modify their vehicles to use gear-driven transfer cases, accepting the additional weight and noise to gain the extra strength they generally provide. Housing type equals. Married. Transfer cases are also classified as either divorced/independent or married. Married transfer cases are bolted directly to the transmission, usually between the transmission's output shaft and the rear or main drive shaft. Sometimes a married transfer case is an integral part of the transmission and the two components share the same housing or case, as is commonly found on recent Subaru products and some other all-wheel drive cars. Divorced independent: a divorced or independent transfer case is completely separate from the transmission. It is located further down the driveline than a married transfer case and connected to the transmission output shaft by a short drive shaft. Independent transfer cases are used on very long wheelbase vehicles, such as commercial trucks or military trucks. Transfer case shift type equals MSOF. Manual shift-on-the-fly transfer cases have a selector lever on the driver's side floor transmission hump and may also have either two sealed automatic front axle locking hubs or two manual front axle hub selectors of lock and unlock, or free. To engage the four-wheel drive system, the vehicle must be moving at a low speed. The speed at which 4x4 can be engaged depends on the vehicle. This is only for the four-wheel drive high setting. To engage the four-wheel drive low setting, the vehicle must be stopped and the transmission must be shifted to neutral, then the four-wheel drive low can be selected. ESOF, electronic shift-on-the-fly transfer cases have a dash-mounted selector switch or buttons with front-sealed automatic locking axle hubs or drive flanges. Some models also have what is called select arc, which is a slider switch on the center console. Unlike the manual transfer case, this system has a transfer case motor. To engage the four-wheel drive system, the vehicle must be moving at a lower speeds. The speed at which 4x4 can be engaged depends on the vehicle. This is only for the four-wheel drive high setting. To engage the four-wheel drive low setting, the vehicle must be stopped and the transmission must be shifted to neutral, then the four-wheel drive low can be selected. See also, NP205, AMC Jeep transmissions, Jeep four-wheel drive systems, Mitsubishi Super Shift transmission. References: http www.textbook and final reverse transfer case edif HTML transfer case differential action, http www.4healer.com 68958 How transfer cases work index HTML How transfer cases work.